Are you tired of losing in Madden or college football or just not playing up to your potential? Then head over to acemadden.com and become a member. Our pro level schemes and ebooks are built to help you win more starting today. So go to acemadden.com and use code ACE for 25% off on your membership. Hello gentlemen, today I'm going to show you 5 different ways you can use switch stick to help get stops in both Madden and college football. So all of this is going to be filmed on Madden, but just know that all of this does apply to college football directly. So if that's the only game you play, this video is still going to be helpful. And the last thing I want to mention is that this video is not a switch stick tutorial. So if you don't know how to use the feature, I would recommend checking out the video that I post in the description. You can check out that video and then come back here and learn all the different ways that switch stick can be very effective. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. The first use case is going to be using a man up and then a switch stick. So the reason that this is good is it helps you take away a problematic route and then allows you to use switch stick to get to a different part of the field. So a really good example of using this type of switch stick would be slant post. So this play has been around since the start of the year. This is motion wide post out of trips tight end flex. And that post route from the tight end can be pretty problematic. So what some people like to do is I'm using the dollar crossfire blitz. I'm not going to talk about the setup in this video. But what I'm going to do is man up to the tight end here. And then what I'm going to do is actually hook zone the running back side slot cornerback. What that's going to allow me to do is play the slant for a second, then switch to the hook and take away the slant. So if you look in instant replay, you're going to see that we played the slant for a second with our user. Then we use right stick to click onto that hook zone over there on the right. And yes, the running back check down is open, but that's likely not going to be a read in his progression. So we're doing a great job at taking away both the slant and the post. But if you look on the left, we do have the return route breaking open. So what you can do for that is just change your coverage slightly. So I'm in double safety go. I'll go ahead and audible to cover 4 quarters. I'll set up the blitz. And the change we're going to make in this case is we're going to put the left side slot cornerback on a seam flat. We're going to man up to the post just like we did in the previous snap. And then optionally, you can put that right side slot cornerback into a vert hook again. So what you're going to see now is pretty much everything is bagged except for the running back, and that's completely fine. Now let's talk about the second use case, which is going to be user pressing and then switch sticking off. And this is very helpful whenever your opponent is running an offense that requires a tight end to be good. So this is U-trips, otherwise known as Y-off trips Pats, found in the Patriots playbook. And the tight end is very important in this offense. So what you can do is take your user and hover over the tight end. In this case, I'm going to go on his outside shoulder because my defensive end is kind of like heads up over him. And what you're going to do, let me go ahead and set up a route combo here, is whenever the ball is snapped, you're going to tap LB or L1 and get a jam on him. And you see how we mess up that zig, and you can switch stick off of that. So I'll go ahead and show you that again. So we start by getting over the tight end. We're going to be over his right shoulder in this case, but sometimes you can be heads up over him. And then we're going to actually switch stick off this time. So remember, press LB or L1 as soon as the ball is snapped. And then you can switch stick to somebody that you think is going to be good for taking away different routes. So I switched to the trip side safety, take away that post route. And that really helps disrupt this play because that tight end zig route is super annoying. But when we press him, we basically make him run an out route. And he's really not going to be a read anymore. For use case number 3, we're going to talk about engaging with the offensive line and then switch sticking off to another player. So this is the B-gap blitz out of dollar. Again, I'm not going to talk about the blitz setup because that's not what the video is about. But all you have to do, and this, it doesn't matter what formation you're in. I'll show you, you can do this out of multiple formations. All you have to do is point your left stick down towards the offensive line once you're down here. So like right here, I usually drag this guy here, or I guess it'd be this linebacker here. And I bring him down. And once he's set right here, you can actually point your left stick down without moving. So you're not going to get called for encroachment. So as soon as the ball is snapped, you can engage and then switch stick off to another player, which can be very useful. Now, one thing I want to mention is that you should figure out what player you want to switch to before the ball is snapped. So in this case, I would say I want to switch to the right side slot cornerback just like I did in the previous snap. And the reason for that is we can kind of muddy up this trip side. And anytime I like to switch stick to somebody like this, I actually like to have them in a vert hook because he's going to stay more towards the middle of the field. Yes, we end up kind of conceding the short flat, but I really don't care about that. So remember, point your left stick down towards the offensive lineman engage, right stick to switch over here to this slot cornerback. The last thing I want to show you in regards to engaging and then switch sticking off is that you don't have to be in dollar. You can do this out of a ton of different formations. Double mug is a good example because people are kind of scared of the pressure because we have such an aggressive front. So what you can do is bring your safety up over the center. We're going to use him as the engage. And what I'll do here is I'll shade down. We'll go ahead and put the slot cornerback into a vert hook. And we'll go ahead and blitz that defensive end. So now we have 5 blitzers, but we technically have 6 if we engage. I'll actually contain as well. So point the left stick down, and if they send everybody out on a route, we're still going to get that +1, which is very, very helpful. Now right there, I didn't switch stick off, but I just wanted to show you that you do have that option. So one more time, go ahead and vert hook that guy. We'll blitz the defensive end so we get 5 rushers. You can point the left stick down, engage, then you can switch stick off to the vert hook, and that's going to be a pretty viable option for you. For use case number 4, we're going to talk about switch sticking to a hard flat and then baiting between 2 routes that are attacking the sidelines. So one of the reasons that flood route combinations have taken a big hit in Madden and college football this year is because of switch stick. Because usually having like a pull route that clears for a corner route and then a short flat route puts a lot of stress on the sidelines, and it was really hard to use her in the past. But now all you have to do is switch stick over to a hard flat and then take away kind of both. See how you can't really make a good read there because you're muddying up the high low between the flat and the corner route. If you want to make that read, be my guest, but you're going to make mistakes if you try to make your living that way. Now, there are going to be formations and route combinations that make it a little bit harder to muddy up that read. So if you look over here on the trip side, we'll go ahead and put the middle receiver on a flat route, and then we'll keep that deep out. This is going to be a flood route combo that's going to be harder to kind of pick between the 2 routes. Because if you look, you're going to see if we switch stick to the hard flat, you can play the deep out, but then the flat's open for 5 to 10 yards. So what do you do in this case? Well, that becomes kind of a chess match with you and your opponent. And what you can do is switch stick to the hard flat, play the intermediate for a second, then switch stick back to the 3 rec. And now you're kind of like baiting between the 2. So if you look at instant replay, we switch stick to this guy. We play the intermediate for a second, make him think that it's open, or sorry, that it's covered. And then we switch stick off and let them go play the hard flats. So that way, if they throw the flat, then we're going to make a tackle pretty quickly. Lastly, I want to talk about a use case that's going to be useful whenever your opponent's in a under center formation. So single back, I form, whatever. The reason for that is I like to use a safety when my opponent's in this kind of formation. And the reason for that is in cover 4, we technically have 2 safeties that are in run fits, which means they're going to both play the run, which is great. Cover 4 is a really good run defense. But I like to have full control over my safety in run defense. Because if I see, let's say, a handoff to the right, I can just take him down to where he needs to be and make the play. And the great thing about this is that if our opponent uses a pass play, we can easily get off of that safety. So we'll go ahead and go to a decent passing play. One that I see all the time is tight end attack because it has a really good tight end post. So what you can do is we'll go ahead and put a decent route combo on the field. We'll just use this. That's fine. So what we can do is if we see it's a pass play, we can switch stick down to like the hard flat, for instance, and take away these routes. The pressure wasn't great, obviously, but that's kind of the point of the switch stick here is that we don't have to use the safety the entire time. We can let him get into his deep part of the field. So we'll go ahead and do it again. Switch stick down, take away the post ourselves, and that ends up being pretty good pass defense. So those are 5 different ways to use switch stick to help get stops in Madden and college football. Obviously, there's other ways to use switch stick to help get stops. So if I left something off that you like to do, just let me know in the comment section. I'm really curious to see what you guys do. Anyways, that's it for the video. Hopefully this helps you guys out. If you guys need additional help, make sure to go to acemadden.com and become a member. You can use code ACE for 25% off. You'll gain access to everything we have on the site for both Madden and college football. See you guys on the next one.